According to the CBS synopsis for SEAL Squad Season 1 Episode 6, The Spinning Wheel, the group must collaborate with Jason's longtime rival to plan a raid, under the watchful eye of top military brass. Furthermore, Clay delivers somber news to a teammate's next of kin. In the Al Madinah region of Saudi Arabia, a black SUV orders a herder to relocate his goats off the road. When the farmer requests for water, claiming his son is unwell, the guy shoves him to the ground, sets a device on his rear tire well, and giggles as they drive away. Clay Spencer, Max Theriot sits in shock as they discuss Brian's, Jay Hayden next of kin and the memorial ceremony. The SEAL Squad discusses the absurdity of his serving 2 tours in Iraq only to die due to a defective parachute. Ray, Neil Brown Jr. asks Jason, David Boreanaz whether he spoke with Spencer because he was clearly extremely close to Brian. Nevertheless, Jason responds that this is part of his studies and he cannot break apart every time anything happens to him. Jason locks eyes with Clay as he exits the room, and they nod as if they recognize each other's loss. Adam, Michael Irby informs Clay that he is flying out to notify Brian's next of kin because he is the one listed on his documents, and instructs him to pack an overnight bag. Lieutenant Commander Eric Blackburn, Judd Lawman notifies the squad that Captain Thomas Garcia, Gonzalo Menendez would present information on the operation he has been working on. He shows them a stronghold that was erected and does not believe it was built in Yemen either. The following shot shows Abu Hassan, demonstrating that they were able to install a tracking device on one of his courier's cars. Mandy Ellis, Jessica Pear begins to explain their goal when Jason expresses fear that they are about to invade Saudi Arabia, which supplies more than half of their oil. He is the greatest fish they have pursued since Bin Laden, and they believe they know where he is, but they must present a strategy that would not result in a geopolitical catastrophe. The duplicate has been completed, and they discover that Senior Chief Bo Fuller, Sharif Atkins, was the one who designed their assault strategy. Jason is unhappy that they weren't involved in the plan, and Fuller mocks them, questioning their ability to keep up. The bottom line is that this must be done correctly, and they are instructed to put on game faces. Blackburn demonstrates the strategy through the replica, including how they would enter and penetrate the building before capturing their target, who should be in the middle of the castle. Fuller claims the police response time is 14 minutes, but he is informed he cannot communicate with the Saudis under any circumstances. He claims to be aware of and comfortable with the margin. They are once again instructed not to cause any harm or injury to local forces. Fuller confronts Jason, blaming him of wanting to be chief, and shows him up in front of the leadership. Clay seeks advice at the airport, but Adam responds that there is no way to prepare for how a parent would react, and the only thing you can do is walk in and make the best of it. Clay discusses with him what Brian informed him about his parents and relatives. They have his mother's address and are on their way. Clay hesitantly asks Adam if he wants to do all of the talking. Fuller gathers everyone outside for a live simulation of the breach that will take place at the Saudi citadel. Jason continues to disagree to his suggestion, claiming that he should not separate the teams. He asks again about all of the non-combatants who will be on the opposite side of the door. Someone offering the kids chocolates to entice them away from the danger, but Fuller insists on using explosives since Jason claims they can cut down the door without murdering innocents. He is given the opportunity to demonstrate them. Clay comes at Brian's mom's address, which is a pub called Lucy, but it is not his mother's name. A waitress introduces herself as Denise, but she is unsure whether she is the person they are searching for. They claim it's about Brian Armstrong. Clay adds Brian was a buddy, and she admits his mother frequented the cafe for free babysitting. He asks again about all of the non-combatants who will be on the opposite side of the door. Someone offering the kids chocolates to entice them away from the danger, but Fuller insists on using explosives since Jason claims they can cut down the door without murdering innocents. He is given the opportunity to demonstrate them. Clay comes at Brian's mom's address, which is a pub called Lucy, but it is not his mother's name. A waitress introduces herself as Denise, but she is unsure whether she is the person they are searching for. They claim it's about Brian Armstrong. Clay adds Brian was a buddy, and she admits his mother frequented the cafe for free babysitting. Blackburn asks whether he needs to get involved, reminding them that they are not the green team and that this is none of their concern, but the people upstairs are losing patience. He urges them to forget about what is going on between them. Clay and Adam arrive at an abandoned home and are met by a lady who claims to have a gun on them. She admits to knowing some of the individuals that lived there, and Clay thinks he looks like Samuel Armstrong. She thinks Sam was a jerk, but the child was a nice egg. She goes on to add that she hopes the Navy can keep him from becoming his father. Clay inquires as to Samuel's whereabouts. The last she knew, he was in a state penitentiary, while Brian was in a state home. The crew attempts to breach the stronghold again to demonstrate that they can get in and out in 14 minutes, avoiding involvement with Saudi authorities. According to Blackburn, they must be faster since they would run out of time before reaching their destination. They are compelled to repeat it till they finish in less than 14 minutes. Davis, Tony Trucks, swears they will get it, despite continuously running out of time. They arrive and are informed that the operative has been dispatched, but Jason claims that there will be no plywood on the real target to start such a fire, and the bottom line is that Brass believes the operation is too hazardous and does not wish to proceed. Fuller confronts Jason and asks whether he is happy now. Fuller claims Jason's attitude is messed up, while Jason believes it is Fuller's ego. They quarrel as Fuller unleashes on him precisely how he thinks about Jason, who constantly believes he is superior than everyone else until someone is harmed or murdered because he can't follow a script. Jason tackles him, but his teammates pull him away. Ray speaks with Jason, wondering if he has ever considered the hue of his skin. Ray despises Bo as well, but asks Jason if he has ever considered how Bo views things, mentioning how he was the only black person in training and was constantly called out for doing the same thing as his white buddies. He believes Jason should consider that being excellent is insufficient for him and Bo. If Jason goes beyond the box, he is inventive, but if they do it, they are unable to adhere to the rules. Ray believes Jason should speak with someone since Nate's, Daniel Gillies' death is eating away at him. Jason decides to meet Pete Garrett, Chris McKenna for a drink. He apologizes for Nate but had to stay behind to complete a deal. Jason hands him the passport with Teresa's photo, curious about her. He claims she was their interpreter's wife, and once he was taken by the Taliban, they assumed she was next. Jason discovers he assisted her escape and did it because he owed Nate. Jason questions why he did it, as it may have wrecked Molly and Nate's pensions. Suddenly, Jason receives an idea from a sweaty bar customer, and they reconvene in the SEAL team headquarters. Ellis reveals what he learned, including how they may enter through the air ducts rather than busting through any doors, arriving without notifying anybody. Jason states that soon the cargo is secured, Fuller and his crew may retrieve him. He thinks it won't be simple, but it is doable, and they should give it a try. Clay and Adam visit Brian's steakhouse. They are given a tour of the house, and Clay has difficulty visualizing Brian's life. He searches through the books that were left behind and discovers one of his father's novels. On the way back to the airport, Adam discloses that Brian's father has died, having taken a knife to his chest while exiting a strip club just weeks after leaving the pen. Adam is amazed by Brian's survival, and he wishes he had lived long enough to realize the team is the only family they need. Clay scoffs when Adam asks about his own childhood and living with his grandparents. Clay becomes sad, stating that he wants to be as far away from his father as possible, and Adam states that he may not realize it yet, but the team will be the family he needs. Fuller offers an apology stating what happened to Nate was war, but it doesn't mean he likes him. The teams proclaim their readiness and begin to go through the ducts. Jason and Fuller collaborate and complete the task in under 12 minutes. Clay and Adam return to the diner and ask Denise to sit with them. Clay says it is his duty to inform her that Brian Armstrong died 2 days ago. They cannot disclose the nature of his death, but he had no kin. She feels awful, but Clay says he had a lot of people who went out of their way to make sure he had people around him, and she was one of them and should be proud of that. Blackburn notifies Fuller and Jason that the operation has been cancelled, but they are unsure why. According to Mandy, Hassan wasn't there in the first place. Instead, he praises them for their efforts and advises them to enjoy their weekend before returning on Monday. The teams decide to have breakfast together while Jason goes to meet Teresi, who recognizes him. She serves him tea and shows him how she sips it. She apologizes, as does he. She asks if he wants to talk about Nate, and he sits back as they converse.